Well, guess what? It's time for story time. I've done one of these in a while, and I thought, after a good run, so that's why I'm panting, that I'd do one. So, here we go. Back in the early 2000s, or mid, around, I had a girlfriend who was addicted to methamphetamine. I didn't know shit about methamphetamine. Not a fucking thing. Nothing. So, on it went. At that time, I was, in a strange place, as we all are at times. And I was, trying to create something for myself, a life, I guess. So, I discovered she was on meth. I'll try and make this short and sweet so you guys don't have to stare at all this horse shit, even though it took me a while to set up. I did this for you guys, just because this is a good story, and you'll love it. So, I used to wear a shoulder holster even on the bus, whatever, and in that shoulder holster was a 9mm CZ P01 9mm, I said 9mm already, go figure, pistol. And I made the stupid mistake of teaching this meth head girlfriend of mine how to use it. And what I did was I took her out into a park during Halloween when, the fireworks were going off. Boom, 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 right? So, make no mistake, I was about as, oh hell. I just really wasn't aware of my surroundings. Citizenship has its privileges and its revokes. So, let's get down to brass tacks here. I kicked her out of my house when I discovered all the garbage. I flushed about, $100 worth of garbage, brain fucking melting garbage, down the toilet. And I told her, get the fuck out of my house. And she wouldn't leave. She was all weirded out, and she was all messed up on meth. I do now, but I didn't know anything about those drugs at the time because I didn't, and I've never touched any of them. Heroin, meth, whatever, name it. About all I've ever done is smoke a bit of weed. So, on with the story here. I got home from work, and I had just taken apart and cleaned my 9mm pistol, which had a non-integrated trigger like the ones we've been shooting in my videos. And I always carried it wherever I went because I didn't feel safe because I was weird back then. Feel safe now, that's fine. And not because of all this shit that I'm showing you here. But anyway, I did really, I didn't expect this to happen. I told her she could stay the night in my apartment and that she had to leave in the morning. There's actually a picture of me on my Facebook of me, blah blah blah, never mind. The ramen noodle gang will know. This is for you guys mostly. This is for the ramen noodle gang, this story. So, as I'm sleeping on my bed, I feel my pistol come out of my shoulder holster because I still sleep with guns. Or a gun at least. At condition 2. Condition 2, meaning, condition 2 means that you have a mag, but nothing in the chamber. Condition 1 is just fucking stupid. Unless you live, in fucking South Central or some shit, or one of those crazy ass places. But anyway, so she pulls my 9 out of my what am I saying? out of my, this is a hard story to tell, guys, because it was really difficult for me, this one. And this happened, I don't know, 15 years ago, man. But I gotta tell you all about it. So, she pulls the 9mm out, pulls the slide back and chambers around, and I had, some pretty heavy powder rounds in there, and she puts it to her fucking head, and my bed just happened to be in the living room because, back then I was pretty paranoid, so I kept my bed by the sliding door and always slept with my gun in my shoulder holster under my left arm. She pulled it out, popped one in, as I said, and put it to her head and said, if I can't be with you, I don't want to be with anybody. And okay, I'm not showing it on the outside, but I'm shitting bricks, right? But luckily, some type of training kicked in, or some type of awareness of some sort. I don't know, man, whether it was spiritual or universal, but it was beautiful and incredible, and I knew what to do. So I put my hands up, opened my hands, and as she was high on meth, I simply stated, look, man, I just took that apart and cleaned it. You might as well, why don't you point it at me? I said. She kept the gun pointed at her fucking temple, and they were fully cased 9mm rounds, so they would have passed right through her fucking tiny head and through the fucking wall. And that would not have been good for her. Who cares about me? So what I did was I sat down, because she was already sitting down and leaning against the sliding door in my apartment. And I, as I said, had my hands up. I'll show you in a sec here. I had my hands up like this, both hands, right? I said, look, I'm not going to take the fucking gun from you. Just talk to me. And she was so high that she didn't notice me inching closer and closer and closer to her. Because, whatever, right? Yeah, I told her, I said, if you even touch that trigger, it's going to send a round through your head. Why don't you point that gun at me? But she was so fucked up on drugs. Now she's had both her children taken away from her and she's just a fucking wreck, but whatever. That's another story for another time, and who cares? Bottom line is I really loved her when she didn't do drugs. But this is how I saved her life. I creeped towards her while in a crouching Indian position, had my palms towards her, and then as soon as I got close enough, I put my left index finger behind the hammer, because the hammer was cocked naturally because she pulled the slide back, and my thumb behind the trigger because it was a non-integrated trigger. I'd have been up shit creek otherwise, or I'd have been up shit creek if it was a Glock. So, all of you own Glocks can laugh at that one. It wasn't a double action only pistol. Now, as soon as I did that, I knew that if she pulled the trigger, she couldn't do shit, and it would just clamp down on my finger, and she couldn't pull the trigger back because my thumb was behind the trigger. I have no idea how I did this. But the funny part, see, in my story times, I always tell you guys the funny part. And the funny part is, after I took the gun away from her and disarmed her, I pumped out all the rounds, put them in one pocket, put the magazine in the other pocket, and then put my pistol back in my fucking shoulder holster and went back to sleep. But I wasn't asleep because I knew, she'd try and pull it again. She was younger than me. I'm sorry, guys, but she was younger than me by a significant amount. We've all been there. And so she pulls it out again. And without even reacting, I just said, it's unloaded. and she looked down and saw that the mag wasn't in there. Hell, I could have just dropped the mag and popped the round out of the chamber. But anyway, she throws it, and this, I had just set the sights and everything. This fucking pistol was like the Canic that you guys have seen me shot, the one I like the most. I like really hard blue steel pistols. Well, hell, guess what? She throws it, and it hits the drywall, and it just goes chunk. And here's the muzzle and the handle sticking out of the wall, and the rear sights in the drywall of my apartment. And that was just, I was furious for a moment. For a split second, I was furious because I had just set the sights, but then I thought, hey man, I just defused a pretty fucking serious situation, you know. So the next day I got rid of her, and then she stalked me for 4 months, and I finally just got away. That's another story for another time. But that's my story, and that happened, man. And I'm not working off of a fucking, yeah, here's my carpet. I'm not working off of a script or nothing, man. That just came straight out of my head because that crazy ass shit just simply happened, and it was scary as fuck, and I have no idea how I got through that. But I'll say this: civis pacem parabellum, memento mori. Look it up, and Alpha Mike Foxtrot.